Cool. Sick. Let's do this. All right. So I'm just going to start off by like just asking you to introduce yourself and yeah.
Okay,
Welcome
yeah, basically, my name's Lawrence. I run like, am I looking at you or the camera?
Either one.
Okay, I'm looking at you.
Yeah.
The camera's too scary, man. Okay, yeah, basically my name's Lawrence. I run Passenger Outfits in town, which is basically a clothes shop with both my siblings. Basically, yeah, that's probably what I'm best known for, I suppose, just running the best streetwear store in town.
Nice. Sick. Like when because you started Passenger like similar time to when we started the studio, like how's that been like since, like, because obviously,
I think we came off the back of COVID pretty much, I don't know, similar to you guys, I guess, where we sort of like, if we don't open now, we're probably never going to open kind of thing. So we were just sort of pushing it back and back. So we're like, sod it, let's just go for it. And then, yeah, to be fair, since we didn't have much data to work off, like I suppose you guys neither, we didn't have much we didn't know what was busy or what was quiet or what was good or what was bad. We kind of just went for it and we're like, sod it, take the rough with the smooth. And then 2.5 years now down the line, is probably, yeah, like snowballed 10 times what I thought it would be.
Yeah.
The shop's great, like gained popularity and done so much more than I thought it could have done, if that makes sense. When I first opened, I thought we would just still be sort of like ticking over with a few brands and sort of just, you know, paying my wage, but just sort of ticking over, nothing doing any crazy. But now, like, it's opened up so many doors for things that like we want to do, or people that I've met, or like loads of cool things that probably would have never happened if we hadn't have opened. So I'd say it's been a success, touch wood. But like I said, it's still early days. I mean, 2 and a bit years is pretty much still baby years for
absolutely, yeah. They usually say like a business is like doing well when it's like past its 3-year mark anyway. So,
so
but
like
yeah,
I said, we're slowly coming up to the 3-year mark. So fingers crossed, like we continue. But yeah, it seems to be going from strength to strength, if I don't say so myself. So I think I'm happy enough with.
No, of course. And do you feel like Passenger has always been like a thing you've always wanted to like do when you were younger, or was like?
Yeah, probably. Like I've always liked. Well, obviously I worked at a shop when I was younger, which I fell in love with doing. Then sort of left that just for like store closed. A few things happened regarding that, so I was kind of then thrown into the world of other work and did loads of other jobs. Got like a carpentry qualification and did other things, and then was like, you know what, it's pretty rubbish working for other people. And it's like the things that I wanted to do didn't really allow me to do working for other people. I couldn't really, I didn't feel fulfilled doing that, basically, doing what I enjoyed. And then, yeah, I think everything sort of just fell into line, and I was like, sod it, you know what, I had so much fun doing what I was doing when I was a Saturday boy.
Yeah.
Turn that Saturday boy into a full-time job, and I was like, well, here we are. And I think probably the best decision I've made is doing it for myself, because don't get me wrong, it's great working for other people, but
yeah, I understand that, like, because I remember when I was growing up, like, my dad, as soon as I turned 13 for some reason, he was like, you're getting a job, and the only job I could get at the time was a paper round.
Yeah,
and I was like,
everyone's had I love my paper
do you know
round
what I
when I was a kid. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
I don't think they exist anymore. Like kids, I don't know.
I don't know. I think you get the odd.
Everything's online now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, it's all gone wrong. But like a good paper round as a kid, I used to love it. Like get up early.
Absolutely,
see
yeah.
the same faces.
And it was like, I've been working ever since I was 13. So like I had like a job at 13 as a paper round. Then 15, I actually, well, I probably shouldn't have been, but I was working behind a bar when I was working at like Franklin Gardens. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Which was cool. And then like, so yeah, and I understand that like working for people is so shitty, and you kind of like, as you grow up, you kind of realize that, yeah, I fucking hate it.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Like, the security of pay, the security of everything else that comes along for working for someone else is lovely. Like it's unmatched. It's so nice to know. But like when you're doing it yourself, it's a bit more like, well, if we can't pay X, Y, and Z,
yeah,
my wage is the last thing that gets paid no matter what. So if we can't pay, then tough, Lawrence, you're not getting paid this week. Yeah. Which is horrible, but that doesn't seem to happen anymore, which is quite nice. We're sort of like, obviously, as we grow, but the first few years of running a business is always a horrible slog, I think. And like, don't get me wrong, on the outside it looks brilliant, but like there is moments where you think like, why have I done this? Like, why have I done? No,
me and Joe have that same problem as freelancers. Like we kind of like, we realise that we constantly have to graft every month to pay rent for this place and like shit like that. It's just ridiculous. And the amount of outgoings we have is just like, fuck, can we actually afford? But the thing is, like, these outgoings are actually like
all benefiting you.
Yeah, they all benefit us, like, really.
You have to like sort of look at a bigger picture, because everything that you're doing, like, there is no real days off, I suppose. Everything you're kind of doing is sort of work, as cliche as it sounds. But like, you don't mind doing stuff for yourself because you know it's going to benefit you in the long run. But it's a little bit of a harder pill to swallow on a Friday night when you've got to go and do loads of deliveries. but that money's not coming to you, that's going to someone else, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
No, I
It's
get
a bit
that,
like,
yeah.
It's a bit like, well, I could be out drinking or doing something with my friends or seeing my mates, but my boss wants me to do this.
Yeah.
It's a little bit harder when, like you said, it's not your money, it's not going to affect you really, your wage stays the same. But if for me, for example, we had a brilliant month and I was like, oh my God, we're flying, then yeah, you might be able to look at something or look at like, you know, a little bonus or do something, you know, and you're a bit more flexible and it's nicer that way, I think.
Absolutely.
But not for everyone, I guess.
Yeah, no, I get that. And also, like, in terms of like free time, because obviously it takes that, it's a 24-hour job, really. Like, naturally, that's gonna be the case. And I've always feel like, I don't know about you, but sometimes I just feel like I don't have a lot of time for things because I'm so like cooped up in here trying to get shit done. It's unbelievable.
Course, my mum and dad are always like, you're literally never home. Like, you're never, like, you're always out or you're always doing things, or like, same with the girlfriend. She's like, oh, you're busy. And like, don't get me wrong, it's amazing. We're both crazy busy people and I wouldn't change it for the world. But to balance social life, business, and I mean, especially for me, like my job's quite inherently social. Like a lot of the time I'm out and about doing things or seeing people. It's like, you don't actually have much time for yourself, but it's also trying to like, don't get me wrong, without being social and without meeting my customers and going out and doing things, we wouldn't be half the store we are. So I wouldn't change it for the world. But there is that constant, you just never stop. It seems to be like constantly on the go.
Absolutely, yeah. And I completely agree with you. Like, showing your face is massive. Like, because we realised that when we started this, like, now people refer us like to PHOTOMAFIA as just like, oh, it's a Joe and Alex thing.
Yeah, of course.
Which is like cool. Like, but yeah, even just going to pubs and like getting absolutely fucking blasted.
Like
you know what I mean? Like,
and like go and see people or doing things and just trying to be like as active in the community as in Northampton as possible, because I think there is actually a really strong community here. It's just it's a harder thing to infiltrate. I think once you're in and you show your face and people start to be like, he's actually in the scene and he's active, then people are more inclined to help you, I think. But you can't build up a following that's not organic. Like, people aren't going to support you if you're not supporting other people, or if you're not trying to be in the scene or trying to help people. Like, for example, like we come to events here and you, like vice versa, we've had pop-up stuff here. Like, you guys buy from us, we've always come here to support. Like, it's never like, it's almost like you scratch our back, we'll scratch ours. And I think everyone's got that mindset, and I think that's the best way to grow an organic audience. And I think for us, that's just like, we've tried to champion being as active as possible. Like, even that be a repost on a story, or that be like something as small as just commenting on someone's Instagram. Like, cost you nothing, cost me nothing. Like, bro, you do it every day. You know what I mean? You like pictures, it's a thing. But coming from, like you said, a business that supports, it seems like, and I've noticed that now, within the last 2 years, a lot more people seem to be trying to like build a good community in Northampton. It seems to be like it's actually coming together, if that makes sense.
Absolutely,
like growing.
And like, do you feel like your impact on what with like Passenger and stuff like that? Do you feel like you've built a community where people can come in and just talk to you about like certain shit?
Yeah, I think a lot of our customers, it's not just a simple, I need a t-shirt. Like, do you know what I mean? It doesn't really work. Like, obviously, we've got customers that are very in and out, and that's the way it is. But like, as you can know, I can talk to anyone for ages. Like, I just waffle, mate. So, and when my customers come in, it's normally like we're chatting, and like the last thing will be the close, if that makes sense. So normally it's just like talk about life, whatever, football, rugby, everything. And I think to have that community of like people that come in, like for example, today I had a guy come in who's having like knee surgery. He literally just came in, talked to me, and like give me an update about his leg. And I was like, nice. It's actually like, and I was like, I'm not bummed at all that it's like, oh, why didn't you buy anything? Like, it's quite nice to just have that rapport with the amount of friends that I've grown from the shop that I'd now hold so dear to my heart that I would have never met if I'd done the business, or would have never met if I hadn't have just spoke to a customer. Because both these people that I've in my head are like, were two customers that I'd never met, never even seen in my life. And now like I've been on holiday with them and doing things, you know what I mean? So it's like it's like that little thing of there, like you said, just taking a little second of your day to actually talk to someone can actually flourish into something strong. So
no, absolutely, and it goes a long way. And like I said, with the exhibitions and stuff, like we treat it as like almost like a networking event, but also just like for people just to
go and
exactly, because you find out that a lot of people have a weekend where they're just like, oh, I ain't got nothing to do, okay, I'm just gonna be in my bedroom and do nothing. You know what I mean? It's just like nothing. It's like,
even if, for example, we've got a few things coming up that I'm sure we'll talk about later, like events-wise at the store, and it's like, if we can even have like 4 or 5 people come down, that's better than nothing. Do you know what I mean? And give someone something to do, or like, because the town for a while seemed to be a bit dead. It was like nothing was going on, and I think slowly seems to be picking up with like little art events coming out, like little DJ things going on, like music events. Like I was at the Gary yesterday. Was it Monday yesterday? Yeah, for that art jam thing.
Oh yeah.
And I like surprisingly round with a whole different like group of people to the Gary that I'd normally be in there, if that makes sense. So it's like it's actually little pockets of greatness around. It's just trying to unlock them, and I think with more places like you guys, us, whatever, like stores that seem to give a crap about where we're actually from and not just making money. That is more people I think are actually starting to buy into that community, and it's
absolutely.
I think it's quite a nice thing to have. So
no, definitely, and like you said, like would you say like in terms of like the clothes that you're selling, do you feel like can you see it now, like when you like walk the streets and stuff like that? Like, do you see like people wearing like stuff?
It's like it's probably like one of the most rewarding things. Like go to like a pub or a bar or whatever on like a Saturday night, and I'm like, oh wow, like in my head I'm like, oh, that was from my shop, or like if it's not, I'm like, buy that from my shop. Like, oh, that's from my shop, that's from this whatever. And it's like, or I get people come up to me and be like, oh bro, I wore that shirt on the night out. Got loads of compliments or whatever, and I'm like, that's why I do it. It's quite a nice feel. Like I have kids that come in and be like so shy and timid, and so like, want to get a new shirt? And I'm like, oh, try this, pair this, whatever. And then they come back like a few weeks later, a few months later, and they're like, bro, that shirt, like, I kissed a girl or something like that. And you're like, yeah, like, do you know what I mean? Like something as small as that, but you're like, like that little, like a little win in your heart is quite nice. And it's like you do see, like, it's crazy though, but the age range of people, like, I think our youngest customer's like 10, just like little lad, and then our oldest customer is 78. And he like, I see him and he's still like pretty like dripped out for a 70-year-old man, and I see him and he's like, oh, I love that, like, and always in to buy new bits and stuff. It's quite nice, the range of customers and like how diverse everyone wears things. It's quite nice to see.
No,
like,
absolutely.
Even for you guys, it must be the same feeling. Like if you do work or you do like a photo shoot, and you're like, oh, that was our studio. It's quite nice to be like, it all sort of ties round, if that makes sense. Especially with
absolutely.
people that come in here and interact with our studio or your studio. I can not guarantee, but a lot of them would have been in the store, or at least have a piece that maybe from the store. Do you know what I mean? So it's like all sort of works in a nice way, which is cool.
Do you feel like, I had this conversation with my dad, and he was saying like, oh, it's so weird like how like fashion's like kind of made like this weird cycle, like what, like people wearing baggy jeans and stuff like that. Do you feel like that's like 100%?
I think like
a good thing, or like,
I love it.
Do you feel like we need to like change the style so that it's a bit more like?
Then, I think this, without trying to get too deep in the conversation, I think this boils down to like everything, like creativity, music, art, fashion, everything that's basically creative, right? I feel like there's a ceiling is so high, for like certain things until like technologies get to the point where like it's crazy. But I think right now, what you saw in the 50s and 60s, what i.e. like, for example, for music, like with the Beatles and stuff like that, right? Who were like pioneers of the scene in music. Realistically, what they were doing then isn't dissimilar to quite a lot of bands now, because they kind of paved the way, if that makes sense. So I think with fashion, it's always going to come round, but it comes round in a way where you sort of like filter out a lot of the stuff that was very of the time. So like, for example, like in the 70s or whatever, you'd have like your big flares and stuff, which are quite nice, but like we haven't sort of kept that mad boot cut flair, but we've kind of just gone a bit wider and a bit more baggy and relaxed, and it like that picks influences from loads of different things. And I think even with art and fashion, it's always going to do the loops. I just think they sort of get narrower as they go through the, like, generations. And like I love going through my dad's like stuff and just like stealing clothes from him. So I'm like, some of the shapes and silhouettes and colours and stuff that they had like back in the 80s and 90s aren't dissimilar to what I'm going and looking at and buying, if that makes sense, now for like next season. So it's very like it all sort of works in a weird sort of way. Like my dad always makes jokes like, if I kept all my stuff now, it would have been worth loads of money. Like, to be fair, like a lot of it does sort of have I suppose sort of like it comes into fashion, goes out, and then I reckon in 10 years it probably might come, like certain elements of that one thing would probably come back round. So with all that Y2K stuff and like big garish graphics and like stuff like that, so I think it was very of its like hip hop era, which is sort of like 20 years ago now. So it's kind of again doing that sort of full circle, and then God knows what it will be next. I have an inkling, but like it's like now with Instagram and TikTok, it's almost not as easy to predict what's going to be the thing, because micro trends are like everywhere. Like 1 minute something would be the coolest thing in the world, the next minute it's like, oh, if you're wearing that, it's dead. Like, what the hell? So like, it's so hard to keep on top of like clothes. Where I think that's why I think now there's been a bit of a shift in buying patterns. Like people aren't buying so much like in your face stuff, but they buy more like, I've noticed anyway, like seems to be more like 1-off, 2-off quality pieces that can last them like 5-10 years, and you wear the same thing. And like that's why I was trying to encourage people in the shop to try and buy as much timelessly as you can, because then you'll never be caught out with micro trends. Because if you're just constantly buying what's cool, you're always going to be playing catch up. But if you think in your head, oh, that t-shirt's lovely, but it's not like, it's not very of its time, it's just a nice graphic or a nice print. You could probably wear that in 20 years and it'd still be a nice t-shirt. But if you've got something that's like really popular, as in just now on TikTok, but in like 5 years, that might be a bit like, I probably wouldn't wear that. Do you know what I mean? So it's just that sort of, just trying to predict the cycles, I think is what's the hardest thing. But
no, absolutely, yeah. And that makes a lot of sense, to be fair. But yeah.
Your dad's got some heat in his wardrobe, you have to ask him.
Mate, my dad used to like wear like, what? Kind of like what I'm wearing now. Like,
see?
Like
the apple
like
doesn't
a black
fall
vest
far from the tree, man.
Bro, I shit you not. He used to wear it and then he got rid of it all. Now I'm having to buy all my own shit like it. I'm like,
if only. But
yeah.
It's crazy. Like, even I like see pictures of how my dad used to dress as a kid, and I'd be like, oh, it's actually not too dissimilar, or like not too far away from probably like how we dress or how I look now. So it's like, yeah, if you just kept some of the bits, I would be so much richer.
Oh, mate, tell me about it. It'd be perfect. But yeah. But no, I also want to talk about like, because obviously you did your own clothing line, didn't you? I want to talk about like NM3.
Yeah, NM3 was like, I don't know, it started as like a school project, like as a photography project for me. Yeah. But I loved clothes and liked photography, but didn't love it. So I was like, well, I don't know where I can go in photography, if that makes sense. But I thought if I could do something that incorporated fashion and photography, then we've got something here that could be cool. Yeah. So like, I assume you must know like cyanotypes and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So I started off like cyanotyping all of these clothes and like making patches from the cyanotypes from my negatives. Oh, and sick. Then sewing them onto clothes and that's then like selling. Well, I didn't sell them first. I did my project, and then people were like, "Yo, you selling them?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm selling them now." So I was like, started selling them. Then like that got quite good, quite big, and then like started doing a few other bits. Had a few collabs with artists and stuff, and it seemed to be doing really well. Like sell out. We sold out in like a day with our last collab with when we did with Ben. I sold out in like a day, which still surprises me to this day that we managed to do like 70 t-shirts in one day. Yeah,
I still have that. It's fucking fucking
and
sick.
Funny enough, I had a guy in like last weekend, and he was like, "Yo, did you have any of those samurai t-shirts?" I was like, "Bro, I think we sold out like 2 years ago. I can't lie." But like, and we've got plans for NM3, and we really want to like champion it. But basically, we want to keep NM3 and Passenger like kind of separate, just so then NM3 can be a bit more like experimental, but we'll still sell it at the shop, but just have it a little bit separate. And then we're going to do Passenger like merch, if that makes sense, or just like branded stuff, and that'd have them separate, just so the Passenger stuff, which will be linked to the shop with the shop logo, will just be a bit more like clean t-shirts, nothing too crazy. And then bring back NM3 as where it kind of started with, its sort of like experimental patches, bit of sewing, bit of like stuff like that. Because I mean, my sister studied costume design, so me and her together have got quite a good little like basically do most things with a sewing machine, which helps. That's pretty good, to be fair. The plan is to try and bring back NM3 when who knows watch this space. But I mean, like, it's a lot. Don't get me wrong, I love how busy we are, but like we're almost to the point where I'm like, shit, I can't do
like most of
everything I need to do in the shop, then film all the content, which seems to be like a never-ending thing, and then also be like, right, I'm going to come home now after doing all that and be like, right, time to design some t-shirts. I'm like, it's like we've got so much stuff at the moment, so we've got a few things like t-shirts in the line that should be coming out in like July, summer. That's in collaboration with an artist from Northampton, so that's sick. Cool.
Are you allowed to release?
No.
Yeah, no. Okay, cool.
Secret. But it ties in with an event that you have in here, so you can probably guess which
one
it will be.
Sick. Happy days.
But like, so we're going to do a t-shirt around July. I think the event's in August. Yeah. I don't know. Cool. But the t-shirts are coming out then, so we've got like a few pretty sick t-shirts. There's 3 t-shirts we're dropping, all in white. And yeah, they're pretty sick when they come out. We've got like loads of promo stuff for doing for them, which should be pretty sick. And then regarding passenger stuff, I don't know if I'm just going through t-shirts now, but we've got like another, a pretty sick project coming out soon with a really cool guy in Northampton called Among Good People. If you don't know about him, get on it. Like, get him on a podcast, bro. This guy, no, like fanboy moment, right? I don't know if you know who Patter are, but like they're massive like design agency in Amsterdam. Anyway, long story short, he designed a t-shirt, a football shirt. He makes footy shirts. Like, he designed a footy shirt with the Pirelli logo. Like
yeah.
He instead of Pirelli, it said Palestine, but in the same font as Pirelli.
Oh, I see.
And they did like an Umbro shirt, and like that made it on like London Fashion Week, blew up everywhere. Anyway, long story short, Umbro basically said they're going to sue him, cease and desist everything because of like what he'd made. But he's like basically got global recognition from being like sort of like an activist, but makes like football shirts that speak about things that should be like or like Palestine, whatever, like stuff that he feels very strongly about. And these shirts are like, they're global, man. They've gone everywhere around the world. And the guys at Patter are like pretty interested in his stuff as well, which is pretty sick. So yeah, we've got a football shirt coming out with him.
That's pretty sick.
And another guy in Northampton called Zen. I don't know if you know his stuff.
Oh yeah, I know Zen. Yeah.
So we're going to do a little thing with us three, hopefully for sort of the Euros time. So we've got a few ideas coming up with that. Potentially a little five-a-side tournament as well if you boys want to get involved.
Nice.
I don't know if you're big footy fans, but always we've got a few ideas and stuff coming up with that. And that's about it really.
That sounds good.
So
yeah, that's pretty sick to be fair.
Yeah, he's got some crazy stories if you want to get him on a pod.
No, absolutely, yeah.
He's sick.
That'd be cool. Dialing back to like you mentioned about like content creating and stuff like that, and the never-ending cycle of it, like with social media. Do you feel like you've got the knack of it? Because I shit you not, I don't think we do, and we have a social media manager, and it's unbelievable.
I don't know. Instagram's fucking so confusing. Like, I love it, and like probably wouldn't be half the business without it.
Yeah, of course.
Like, don't get me wrong, we have days where I'm like, wow, we smashed it. It's got like 50,000 views or whatever. Like, whoa. And then you look at your followers and you're like, well, why haven't they gone up then? Do you know what I mean? Like, why
of course.
This does not correlate with this. Someone do something,
Yeah.
And you see people on Instagram that are just like blowing up. Like, why can't I blow up? Like genuinely, there's so many people that are like, I don't think they make the nicest content, or I don't think they do things that are like really that imaginative or really that like, I don't think that deserves 50,000 followers. You know what I mean?
Of course.
But like, don't know what it is about the algorithm. It just does its own thing, I guess. And
it
works
absolutely.
in its own way. I mean, I think we've got our sort of bread and butter content down, and we sort of know what we're filming, and we sort of know what we need to post.
Yeah.
And we sort of have our sort of routines. Don't get me wrong. We don't have a social media manager.
No.
I'm the social media manager, so I can sort of just do what like. We take a look at our insights, see what sort of works, then go from there and try and do other bits. But like, my main thing is just post every day, man. That's what I try and do.
Yeah.
Try and stay, well, when I say every day, I do Tuesday to Friday every day, and then we're off at the weekend. We're not off, just I don't post. But I just try and stay in my head. If you're as active as you can be, and you're doing everything that Instagram tells you should be doing, I don't know what else you can do. Like, there's a few videos that you might do that might go viral and might do really well, but we've had a few of them, and they've not really changed the game, if that makes sense. They've not brought us in any more sales, or they've not done. Obviously, they've brought us loads of recollection, or like people know, wow, that's a really good video.
Yeah, of course.
Like, at the end of the day, it is a business, and if the videos, it gets a bit frustrating when you're like, we've just done like 50k on a vid, and it's got like 800, 900 likes, and you're like, wow, this is class. And then you look at the like your followers, and they've gone down, and you're like, how the fuck is that?
Yeah, like, it just doesn't make sense. And I was like, because my social media guy, he's also my old schoolmate Matt. Yeah. He was on the podcast before, and he was saying like, I don't know how many times we've like had to reschedule our weeks, but we've just so that because the algorithm's so tedious, it's like it's just ridiculous. He was like, oh, maybe you should have like Tuesdays off and like Thursdays off, and post Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then the weekend as well. Yeah, and I'm like, okay. And then he goes, oh no, maybe you should have Wednesdays off now. And I'm like, wait.
Yeah, but like that's the thing. I think I don't think anyone knows.
No.
Like, and I don't even know if Instagram knows really. Like I think like it's almost got to that point now where there's so many people that are like Instagram gurus, and there's so many people telling you to do this, and this. You're like most things are pretty straightforward. If you post, in my head, I think if I post enough to be vaguely relevant and enough for people that go on their feed to see our stuff, yeah, they might not want to buy it instantly, but if I put enough stuff out there, subliminally in my mind, if you think I need a t-shirt, you're going to think of us first, hopefully, just because you've seen our stuff on Instagram for like 4 days straight. So it's kind of hard to miss it. That's my theory. Almost bombard you with so much content that you're like, well, even I might not like that one video, but maybe if I do need a t-shirt or a shirt, he might be the guy for the job. Because in Northampton, I don't know, there's not that many clothes shops. So if we could start to make the town that we live in now first, second guess where they're buying clothes from, then hopefully it will start to have a knock on. But Instagram's just a game of no one knows, I don't think.
Yeah, that's right. No, you're not wrong.
Like,
yeah, no, no, absolutely.
I think, but for me, I think the most important thing, and I think again with you guys, I think it's probably the same, is like I at least know that the amount of followers that we've got, all of them engage. Like all of them engage. All of them are like valued followers, if that makes sense. And we've not got like crazy big number followers, but we get like 200 engagement. What's the point? Like, in my head, at least I know that the amount of people that follow us are a good percentage of them will interact with the store. Will at least comment, liking, come and buy things, come and do things, come and, and I think that's more valuable than having 10K, 5K, whatever amount of followers you've got. I think actually having engaging followers that support your business and support you is worth its weight in gold compared to a K next to however many numbers. Do you know what I mean?
No, absolutely, yeah.
That's a quest for, hopefully, like I said, I'd love to get up, up in the big numbers, but when that will happen, who knows? Who knows?
But yeah. And obviously, you used to work at Driver as you mentioned, as a Saturday worker, and like, obviously, I want to talk about like the comparison between driver and passenger. And like, do you feel like there's a different like approach to how passenger is compared to how driver
not
was?
At all. I think driver was probably like, that was what made me want to do everything. Basically, made me want to do this. But that being said, I think that store was opened in like, I think the late 70s, early 80s. Right? So it was around for like 30 odd years, like 35 years, something like that. Don't quote me on numbers, but similar. And what Steve was doing at the time was like mind blowing. Like he had one of the first accounts to have Carhartt, like brought over like so many different brands like that you would have never heard of. Stussy, for example, like stuff that the town had never even bothered to even go and do. Steve was doing it basically. Old Levi's, old vintage, everything. Like if you wanted clothes back in the day, that was the shop. And I don't know like if your parents are from here or live in Northampton, but that's basically, everyone knew that was the store, And that works, and I think that always will work because Steve was just the man. Like I don't know if you ever really got the chance to meet him, but he was a cool dude, man. And he like, not many people, even I like, and I don't even think I've got it, like people have just a knack for being able to like wear clothes. He looked good in everything, mate. It was so annoying. Like everything. Like no matter what, even at flipping like 50 when he used to like, he'd still look good in everything. I put certain things on, I'm like, I don't know, that's not quite me, that doesn't quite fit or whatever. He had the body, the style, the swagger for it, and I think people bought into that. But going into what we are now as a store, I don't think we could do what Driver did just because Steve built up the store as a very word of mouth thing. Like people knew about Driver. Bro, I go to Manchester now and I still go to stores and I'm like, I used to work at Driver, and I'm like, oh shit, you work at Driver.
Oh wow, shit,
like,
okay.
Like Manchester, London, like his name, like I'll go to meetings with big shops, and like that name will resonate amongst everyone in the scene just because he was like, he was doing it first, man. He was one of the first, but he didn't like social media, didn't like website, didn't have any of this stuff, which if we didn't do, I think we'd cease to exist, if that makes sense. So I take the greatest bits of Driver, i.e. how Steve ran the store, how he made it, how the vibe, everything, how it feels, because I don't like the stores that feel like a surgery. Do you know what I mean? You know,
no, I get that.
It's just like white everywhere, metal, and it's all too like, you don't touch anything because you feel like the store assistant's gonna be like, oh my god, you've unfolded it.
No, I get what you're saying.
That. I like a store that like almost looks a bit crazy, like there's just shit everywhere. That's absolutely. Quite nice because I think you feel a bit more like relaxed, and that's what we've tried to do with that and try and carry on that essence. But then giving it a modern twist with our Instagrams and social media. But yeah, I don't think you could have a better footprint or blueprint to work off, considering I was at Driver for that long. I think it'd be hard to not take. It's like not listening to Yoda, man.
Exactly.
There's
That's
no
it.
point.
Yeah.
So,
No, absolutely.
Like Luke Skywalker wouldn't be the man. I'm not comparing myself to Luke Skywalker,
Yeah.
but he wouldn't be the man he was without Yoda. Do you know what I mean? So it's like that sort of
Exactly.
like.
This is it. Yeah.
So that sort of he was big
Yeah.
dog. So yeah.
I like how you made that reference, like
definitely,
not long after May the 4th.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, exactly. See? On brand.
Yeah. But and you know what I love about your name, like the passenger name is like, oh, who was it? We took Cameron from Tragic. Now
so
Thistle.
many people didn't know.
Yeah, and they were like, and it was like as soon as we left the shop, it's like, oh, now I get it. And I was like,
like for ages. But like still for me, like it's very like if you know, you know. Like I'm not gonna shout about it, but like it's just it made sense in my head. I was like, what a cool little link. And then we were doing a bit of Googling, and it turns out there's like actually a pigeon, because our logo is a pigeon. That was the passenger pigeon. That's actually a thing. They're extinct now, but like that's actually a breed of pigeon that used to be a thing. Cool. They looked too good to be like, that was like, that looked cool. I was like, this is kind of all coming together nicely. Plus driver, passenger, kind of makes sense. So I went with it, and I was like, sod it. It looks good on the sign. It looked good. So I was like, yeah, that's the one. So I think passenger, it's a good nod. Plus it's got a cool little ring off. It rings off the tongue quite nicely, I think.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then I might finalize it off by talking about like anything like with passenger, where do you see it going in terms of like?
Oh, I'd love to open a multiple stores. That'd be the dream, wouldn't it? Open a few stores.
Yeah, of course.
Probably in a different county. Like I probably like. There's no point in having like
another one in Northampton.
Passenger, like there's just no point.
Yeah.
I think what we offer for a great brand mix is very alternative to what's going on at the moment. Don't get me wrong, we've got a few brands that are very mainstream, but we've always tried to pride ourselves of getting a few niche ones that not many people have heard of. Like, for example, we've got like Deus and a few other, no, not Deus, like Uskies and a few other people that no one has heard of. But we try and champion the ones that are actually quite niche, because that's what sets us apart from a lot of other stores. So, I mean, I'd love to open in a new county. I mean, abroad would be pretty crazy. That'd be pretty nice. Like, I've always toyed with the idea of living abroad. So if I could do that and run my business abroad, that'd be pretty sick. I mean, I don't know if that would actually happen.
Anywhere in particular, or like?
I've always lived. I think for cities, I love Lisbon as a place.
Lisbon would be cool. I'm still yet to go, but Lisbon would be sick, mate.
Love it. Like everyone there, people, food, way of life is just like. Barcelona's good, too busy.
Yeah.
Paris, good, bit scary.
Yeah.
Lisbon, it's got everything, and the people are like way relaxed and really like low key and chill. And you can have a Portuguese tart every morning with your coffee. I mean, you can ask for much more.
Exactly.
Like,
that's it.
Nah, I think Lisbon would be the dream if I could do that. But I think a few more stores in the UK, and then we'll see what happens. But
sick.
That's the plan. Hopefully,
and that's the dream.
Passenger stays for many years to come. That would be the dream.
Yeah, of course. And it's nice that you've got that family network to like work around as well and fall back on as well.
It needs it, I think. I don't know. Running a business, as you guys can imagine, it's quite hard, and especially when you've got. Well, I mean, you and Joe are like brothers, innit? But when you've got like, well, like you.
Of course.
When you're like, I think it becomes more scary when you start inviting people into the inner workings of a business, especially when you don't know them. I don't know. It sounds like all my mates that are like really mates are all doing things that there's no point in me asking them to help. And then it's like I was like, if I can just do it myself for now, it minimizes.
Well, yeah, like you said,
going wrong. So
no, and you're absolutely right. Like even when me and Joe started this, like, because we like I say it all the time, we started like when we were in uni, and we were talking about it, and we're like, we just kept talking about it, and then we got on a few jobs together, and then we realised that we were good at working with each other, and then
sod it,
fuck it, we did this, and that's how it is. But like you say,
but like, obviously the plan is to get some people in at some point. You know, get a few. I'd like to find a new Lawrence-esque Saturday boy. I don't know if they exist anymore, but like a little 15-year-old me going to driver was like the best thing in the world. But it doesn't. I don't know if like times have changed. I haven't really like. Who knows? Like, I'd love to get some people in. I think the plan is like to expand and potentially get some more. Needs a Saturday boy at some point.
Yeah.
Anyone on? I'll
start. Yeah.
No, but like at some point soon. But like for now, if I can keep it in the family. Like my sister's crushing it. Me and her together do the Instagram. She's like some little wizard on
social media,
Pro and all that stuff. So she like does all our videos and stuff. She's pretty good with that. And then like my brother does all the numbers and like the boring side of it. So like us three as a team work really well together.
That's a pretty perfect team, to be honest.
Works. Don't get me wrong. There's moments where I like want to kill both of them.
Yeah. Well, they're your siblings at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
But like 9 times out of 10, it's pretty solid. And then my mum's always keen to come and give us a hand on a Saturday or something if I need a hand. So yeah, it kind of works, but I'm sure that model of when we grow and get bigger, I'm sure that's probably not going to be very feasible. But for now, while we can still make it work, then sod it, I'll make it work. Do you know what I mean? But
no, it's great. And yeah, I think that's. I think
we've touched.
I think we've basically touched on everything.
I
think that's a really nice way to end it. To be fair.
There we go. So, yeah. Oh wait, I missed a key date in the calendar.
Oh, okay. Go on then.
Let me check the date. Because this is actually a key date. This is big. Well, it's big for me. You might think it's shit. Okay, here we go. Yeah. So 31st of May, which is this month.
Yeah.
Big warehouse sale in the store. Clear out up to like 80% off on pretty much all brands. DJs, beers, and good vibes until like 9 p.m. So
that's actually pretty
get
sick.
there. Basically, there's going to be like crazy deals going. Like just clearing out the warehouse, making space for all the new stock that's coming in for winter.
Yeah.
So
okay, sick.
There'll be mad deals on crazy bits.
Oh, you heard it from here.
So get there.
So that's it. Sick. Nice. Cool. Did you want to like put any like links in or anything like that other than the event?
Website, which I assume will be in the description. And the Instagram, I assume will be
sick. Cool.
Right here, Joe. Yeah, there you go. Right there. There you go.
Sick.
And then I think that's everything.
Yeah.
Cool. Nice one.
Sick. That's it. Happy days.
Perfect.
Thanks for coming on the pod.
Smashed it. Hopefully that wasn't too bad.